Okay, so this next data set we're looking at is the winning times for the Olympic 400-meter dash. It has the years, and it has the men's time and the women's time. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to how to enter these lists. L1 is going to be years since 1967. So you're not plugging in 1968, 1972. You're plugging in one, okay? 1968 is 1 year from 1967, okay? 1972 is 5 years since 1967. So make sure you're paying attention when you're plugging those in. The times are the times, okay? So you're going right across the men's time and the women's time. Now, we're entering 3 different lists here. So make sure you're staying organized with what list you plugged in where, okay? I have it down here as L1 is the year since 1967. L2 is the men's time. L3 is the women's time. Now, 7 and 8 are asking us to find the regression equation for both the men's, and 8 is asking for the women's. So I'm going to go to my calculator. That's the first thing we're going to do. Okay, look at the calculator, stat, edit, and there are my 3 lists. I already had them plugged in to save some time, but pay attention to my L1, 1, 5, 9, 13, all the way up to 33, okay? Looking at the data set, it's the years since 1967. You will get different answers if you plug in those years. So make sure you're doing this accurately so you're with everyone else in the class. Years since 1967. L2 is my men's time. L3 is the female's time. So I'm going to quit out of there, and I'm going to go to Stat, Calc, and number 4 is the Lin Reg. So I'm going to go down to number 4. You could hit the number 4. And the first one I want to do is the male. So years was L1, and my Y is going to be the men's time. So I need to type L2. So you're going to hit second L2. Remember, you have to use the L1, L2, L3, the blue ones down here. So second L2. I'm not worried about frequency or storing the regression equation. Just going to calculate. And there's my slope is the A, and B is the y-intercept. I'm going to suggest 3 decimal places. So my slope is negative 0.024. Don't forget about that negative. And my y-intercept is 44.452. 453. Make sure you round correctly. Okay. So there's the men's time. I'm going to clear that out. Go back to Stat, Calc. Go to number 4. This time I want to do the women's time. So the year L1 is staying the same, but this time I'm going to do L3 so we get the women's time in there. Go down to calculate and enter. So there we have negative 0.0889 and 50.949. So again, make sure we're rounding carefully. It's negative 0.089 and the y-intercept is 50.949. Now, the next part of the packet after you get to equations is explaining how to call up your scatter plots. So you can follow along with these notes. I do want to have both scatter plots turned on at the same time. One for the men, one for the females. So when I go to my y equals, I'm going to take the time to plug these in carefully. We have negative 0.024x plus 44.453. There's the men's equation. Now for the females, we have negative 0.08, hit the 5 by accident, 89x plus 50.949. Just double checking my equations real quick. All right, everything looks good. And there's my equations for the line of best fit. So now they're stuck in there. I'm now going to go to the scatter plots, second y equals, and I'm going to turn on my 2 plots. So the first one, turn on needs to be highlighted. Scatter plot is already highlighted here. If you have a different graph that's highlighted here, make sure the scatter plot is the one that's highlighted. And we have L1 and L2. So that is the years versus the men's time. Okay, so this one's all set up, turned on, highlighted, L1, L2. I have this space here, and the color is on be orange. Okay, that's important. If you don't have a color one, the cursor that you pick is not going to be important. I'm now going to second, quit out of there, go back to second stat plot. I'm now going to go to my plot 2 to hit enter, turn on the scatter plot. Scatter plot is highlighted. L1 is my years. L3 is the female. You might want to pick a different mark for this one. I picked a plus sign. Mine's also going to be red. If you have one of the older calculators that doesn't have color, make sure you're picking a different symbol so you can tell the difference between the men's and the women's. Now, this is all set up for L2. My L1 is all set up. Zoom, and I'm going to go down to number 9, zoom stat. That is going to fit my screen to my scatter plots. And there's my scatter plots with the line of best fits going through. Okay, and now if I want to find that point of intersection, that's going to be all the way over here. You can see the points. The female's time is going down. The men's time is going down a little bit, but not quite as much. So we know they're going to intersect somewhere out here. I need to extend my X value a little bit. So I'm going to go to Window. My X value, it is at 36. I'm actually going to extend it a good amount. Let's extend it to 60. I'm going to leave my Y's where they are, and let's see what it looks like. Graph. Okay, still can't see it, so I'm going to go back to my window. Make that 60 wasn't enough. I thought that would have been enough. Let's make it 100. Graph. Now this time, okay, we see the point of intersection. So I'm going to zoom one more time, try and get a little more space there. I'm actually going to move my Y down a little bit too. Let's make this 120. Let's make that Y. Okay, the Y min was 42. Let's make the Y min, let's make it 20 and see what it looks like. All right, so now we see the point of intersection. So now when it's asking us things like when will the times be the same, when will they, times for the men, times for the women will be the same, we can here look at this point of intersection. So let's do second trace. 5 is the intersect. My blue one, make sure you look, Y1, it's my lettering's in blue so I know what line I'm on. I'm going to hit enter first for my first curve. Now the red is highlighted. The cursor automatically moves up to the red. I'm going to hit enter again. And I'm going to scroll close to the point of intersection. Doesn't need to be exact. I'm going to hit enter one more time. And there the point of intersection is 99.938 and 42.054. So the X was the years since 1967. And the Y was the time. So the time is 42.054 seconds. The year, if you're adding up, let's round that to 100 years. That means the year 2067, if these trends continue, is when the men are going to be equal time with the women. Now, another way you could do this is go to the table. Second table. Now, our table's set at 8. And right now the times are nowhere close to each other. We have 44 seconds and we have 50 seconds over here. So we need to change a little bit. We know we have to get to 100 years. So I'm going to go to second table. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to make this 95 since I know I'm going to 100. I'm also just going to count by ones instead of the quarters. So we're going to be counting by ones. Second table. And now we can see, okay, the closest time we're going to get is that 100 years where it's 42.053 and 42.049. That's when the men and women are as close as they're going to be on this table. If I wanted to change, maybe count by tenths, say 0.1. Now if you go to the table, you're going to be able to get a little closer. We're going to have to scroll a bit though, since we knew it was 99 point some. And there we're a little closer. 0.003 away is when we're at 99.9. Okay? So that's how you can use the graphing and the table functions to answer these questions. You should have one more example in this packet. I want you to try this one on your own.